Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Calhoun, and I'm a Marketing Client Services Manager here at Ingram Micro. In my role, I manage the communication strategies for Ingram Micro's TrustX Alliance global community. Over the past few months, we've had some great discussions regarding diversity and inclusion as a community. So I'm excited to continue the discussion by welcoming you to today's session on building our best team, diversity, equity, and inclusion at Ingram Micro. This is an important topic that has become a huge focus across the Americas region and globally this year. While there are a lot of conversations about the impact within the workforce, we wanted to share more about how we as a company are approaching it. We hope that by sharing our journey, it will help you find opportunities to incorporate some of these initiatives within your own business. So, to help provide some insight into our journey, I'm joined today by two members of our HR leadership team across the Americas region. Diana Garcia, based in Mexico, and Simon Wilkins, based in California. Welcome.
Hi, Brittany. Hi, everyone.
So to kick things off, Diana, would you mind giving us an introduction to DE&I at Ingram Micro?
Of course, Brittany. The goal of Ingram Micro is building our best team. All this beginning, we created a culture and environment where people feel that they belong and are appreciated. Our CEO, Alain Monnier, leads this culture. Some days ago, shared this message. This phrase inspired us to act in the Americas and across the world with the support of all the ELT members. Our powerful focus is to reinforce belonging and inclusion, and it is something that we have all experienced at different times in our lives. If all of us take a moment to think when we felt like we didn't belong, we have all experienced this. Maybe you feel the need to play down or hide an aspect of yourself, your accent, your religion, your sexual orientation, or your socioeconomic status from your peers or from your family. Maybe as a kid, you were left behind on a sport team, or maybe you were teased at school. Perhaps you immigrate to a new country, or maybe you join a new company. The detrimental effects of not belonging are deeply felt by people. And this can happen not just in the workplace, but also in our society. If all of us reflect on your own workplace, think in the people who sit around you, they must hide or filter the major parts of their professional persona, or that they must check a part of their life at door each day. Thinking in these topics, where everything begins. In summary, not just because someone is included in a team or company means that they feel they belong. Belonging is a fundamental human need, a word that translates across language, cultures, and feeling that every human is wired to want. This is important to remember because you can focus all your efforts on bringing together all these diverse people, but if they don't really feel they belong, they will never realize their full potential. So this is something that we keep at the heart of our work at Ingram Micro. We are a multinational business, and we always giving some autonomy to each of our country operations to ensure that they are meeting the expectations and requirements of their local environments while meeting our global standards of ethics and integrity. However, we have really improved our approach to create a more consistent experience of diversity and inclusion for all our associates globally, and we will continue doing it. This topic is broader than just woman leadership or race. Diversity is all the ways in which we are different. Diversity includes the unique perspective that arise from different backgrounds, experience, demographic ideas, and other factors such as race, ethnicity, gender, physical abilities, sexual orientation, age, socioeconomic status, religious beliefs, or political beliefs, and more. Our goal with this work is to create a better Ingram Micro, so that we are an organization that not only welcomes diversity, but celebrates and promotes it. A place that everyone can bring their true self to work, from senior leaders to warehouse and temporary associates. I am sure, Brittany, this is a goal shared by all our partners.
That's great, Diana. So Simon, how is Ingram Micro approaching diversity and inclusion?
Yeah, thanks, Brittany. So as Diana mentioned, diversity and inclusion isn't new to our business, but our focus has boosted this year. Our business came up with 5 guiding principles to help focus our work, because this can be a pretty broad topic, and depending on where you're at in your journey, it can actually feel a bit overwhelming. Our first guiding principle is that we continue to listen and gather inputs and feedback. And this is so important. Earlier this year, events in North America sparked conversations about racism and inclusion around the globe, including within Ingram Micro. Our executive leadership team, led by our CEO, Alan, commenced a series of listening sessions with associates to get closer to the experiences of our people and identify ways we can continue to improve. So far this year, almost 400 of our people have participated in listening sessions, and we've trained over 200 of our senior leaders globally, and they'll be hosting future listening sessions all around the world. The insights and feedback from these sessions have contributed to how we are reshaping our plans to diversity, equity, and inclusion globally. And that leads to our second guiding principle, which is that we are committed to providing our people with greater capability and awareness on DE&I, and we know that this will take different forms globally. To assist us on our journey this year, we engaged a specialist consulting firm called MindGym that has partnered with us to build a global capability framework and helped us bring external research and outside thinking into our plans. For us, choosing a partner that could help accelerate our progress was important, particularly given that there can be unique differences in needs across different geographies. Our third principle is about setting expectations. We know that there's no silver bullet or quick fix when it comes to this work. Our senior leadership team has taken a very deliberate and thoughtful approach and has made it clear that fundamentally, this is a long-term investment. Every country that we operate in has built plans that we can measure, and our plans acknowledge the different stages of each of our business units may be at, and they're geared toward long-term sustained improvements. And our fourth principle relates to impact. We've always believed in the power of inclusion and the benefits it brings, both within our company and also beyond. Although our senior leaders are advocates and allies for DEI, this isn't all about them. A core part of how we're tackling DE&I is that we're involving and including associates at all levels in building our new approach. So as an example, in the US, we've set up a new D&I council made up of people from different business units at different levels of seniority and in different states. And this is absolutely a DE&I program built by our people and for our people. Our final principle relates to accountability. And as a result of the fantastic insights our people have shared from the listening sessions, as well as the external thinking our consulting partner MindGym provided, we're introducing a new global framework to help hold ourselves accountable over time.
Thanks, Simon. So can you share more details about the framework?
Sure. So working with the team at MindGym, one of the things we wanted to do was to start demystifying the concept of inclusion, which can be a bit fuzzy and abstract, and make it a bit more real and a bit more concrete. As we went through the process, what we learned and kind of all intuitively knew was that everyone has this fundamental human need for their own unique identity to be recognized and valued by others. And we explain how this plays out in this 4-quadrant model. The model has 2 dimensions: uniqueness on the y-axis or the vertical, which is a measure of how much people feel able and safe to share differences, and belonging on the x-axis or the horizontal, which is a measure of how much someone feels they're a valued member of the team. We can use this as a diagnostic tool to help determine where we are today and what actions we need to take to improve. So where we want to get to is the top right quadrant, which is inclusion. When you're in that zone, it's where you have an equal balance of celebrating uniqueness and difference while at the same time having an environment where people truly feel they belong. And this is the sweet spot of high-performing teams. Below that quadrant, you have assimilation. In this zone, this is where people are made to feel very welcome, but conformity and difference is not really valued or seen. And often when people talk about things like culture fit and fitting in around here, that's a clue that assimilation may be happening. Then in the top left, you have differentiation. And this is where people are valued as unique. So maybe there's lots of individual stars or heroes in the company, but people don't really feel part of something bigger than themselves, and they don't have strong relationships with people who are different to them. And then the fourth and last quadrant in the bottom left is exclusion. If people aren't having their identity needs met, so if people like them aren't valued or welcome, or if the messaging they receive is that they're being judged negatively, they then experience an identity threat, and this is not a good zone to be in. This is dysfunction. So that's the model. This model, along with other practical tips and tools, comes together to build the overall framework, and this has been built into training being rolled out globally.
So what else have you learned along the way?
Sure, we've learned a bunch. So one of the first things is the listening sessions that we held have been really valuable. We heard encouraging feedback that our associates care about our organisation, they're committed, and they're confident that we can continue to change. We also heard about ways we could improve. Our associates want more consistent communication about the work that's happening in D&I, and they're very interested in how we can measure the success and impact of the work over time and maintain accountability. We also learned from our warehouse operations teams that celebrating differences is actually one of the biggest opportunity areas. People want to share more about their culture and want to create a space where people can share stories, build connections, and get beyond the regular business stuff. We also heard about what is important for people leaders when it comes to their careers. Associates want to see more leaders who look like them. They want to have equal opportunity for internal jobs or projects, and they want to be part of high-performing and diverse teams. And separate to the listening session, something else worth calling out, data is really important. You don't need a rocket scientist. You just need a willingness to look at the available data sets you have, ask questions, then follow through with finding answers and taking action. And set goals that let people know about them. As an example, many of our operations across the Americas, we've created some basic dashboards to help our senior leaders and recruiters stay across workforce trends and help grow underrepresented groups into leadership. And another key takeaway we learned was that you just need to get started and keep things simple. We find that a lot of the work that each of our country operations do boils down to three primary buckets. First one is hiring. What are you doing to attract and actively seek out the best, the diverse talent in the market? So at Ingram Micro, we've created our own in-house training program called Hire Great that all people who recruit need to complete within the first 6 months of being hired. The program teaches how to conduct a good quality behavioural-based interview, minimise bias, and secure great talent. We've also set some goals for our recruiters to ensure they're providing hiring managers with diverse shortlists. The second bucket was inclusion. So what do you do with all the great talent when you find them? A couple of examples. We've set up some employee resource groups. We already had them for women and veterans, and we're in the process of building out employee resource groups for Black people, LGBTQ, and people with disability. These groups are safe spaces for people to learn, give a voice to underrepresented groups, establish broader networks, and really enrich our working culture. We also encourage our leaders to be bold and empathetic and open the door to having conversations with their teams about inclusion and diversity. And we're supporting our leaders with targeted training to help them along the way. And the very last bucket is retention. So it's not worth investing all this time and energy in hiring diverse talent if they're leaving at an equal rate. So what are you doing to keep your talent? How are you looking at your data to help take action and make progress? So we regularly review our data, and based on what we learn, we set up career conversations. We look at internal promotion rates. How long have people been in their role to see who might be ready for the next move? So these are just a couple of examples of things we've been working on.
Now that we know more about what Ingram Micro has learned, Diana, can you shed some light into the global implementation plan?
Yes, it is important to point out this is not an HR program. This is a business program. It doesn't matter if you are a big or a small company. There are things that everyone can do. We are currently in the implementation phase, and we will continue to be implementing throughout 2021. While we conduct our program, we identified the different workforce segments had unique needs, and we need to cater for that. So we designed our program based in 6 different workforce segments we call tracks. These include our warehouse associates, warehouse managers, office-based associates, office managers, senior leaders, and the new group we call catalysts. Catalysts are some of our most influential team members, irrespective of their level of seniority. We are trusted by our associates and actively challenge the status quo. I encourage you to reflect and think about who are the catalysts in your organization, who are you using them, and including them as a part of your DE&I initiatives today. Our program uses an approach with several facets because we know we can just run some training and expect things magically happen. We have to develop tailored learning programs, creating toolkits, online workouts, behavioral news, data analysis, listen sessions, and workshops to help our leaders to tell the story of DE&I at Ingram Micro. We think of this with an open mind, knowing that this is also about testing and learning. Brittany, this is like when we cook a new dish. We practice over and over and again. We will keep continuously improving and testing our approaches as we go.
That's great. The one thing we haven't touched on is the global pandemic. Simon, do you see any impact from COVID-19 on diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Yeah, COVID-19 has greatly impacted the world of work, including Ingram Micro. Our new world of remote working has really uncovered some interesting insights. We are in the business of technology, and just like for most companies, technology has truly been an enabler during the pandemic. We learned that we can successfully work remotely, and as a result, we'll definitely continue aspects of remote work into the future more than we did previously. Remote working has reduced travel times for associates, particularly in high-traffic locations like California. Also, it's opened our minds to truly hiring from anywhere, and we're no longer fishing for talent in the same locations we have previously. And that's opening us up to talented, diverse folks all over. But we've also encountered some challenges. We do have to be more intentional about exposing our talent. particularly from underrepresented groups with our senior leaders that may not already have established relationships with them. Remote working has the potential to be quite isolating. Isolation leads to uncertainty about whom to talk with on specific issues and how and when to approach associates, which can potentially cause delays. We can also sometimes get stuck in our own little bubbles. Making sure our people continue to be safe and healthy is also a big focus. And that's more than just physical well-being. It's also their mental well-being. And in the US business, we put our HR team and small groups of leaders through mental health awareness training to make sure we're looking out for our future, for our people. This is something we're going to be continuing to do in the future.
Great. So speaking of the future, how will you know if progress is being made? Diana, what will some of those proof points be?
Sure. As a result of all the work we are putting in, we know our people will see difference over time. These are our proof points. We will be looking for the next 12 months, and you might want to use this with you in your businesses too. First, small changes, big impact. When you embark on a program like this, you should expect people to notice a difference in everyday behaviors. You can expect to see people speaking up more, sharing ideas and opinions, be more considerate of different perspectives, feel curiosity for others, and listening to what is said. While these behaviors may seem small, they leave lasting positive impact on others. Second, your metrics will prove it. Not only will you notice changes in the individual's everyday behaviors, you will also start to see a shift in metrics, both quantitative and qualitative. We are holding ourselves accountable by identifying key metrics that we will track. Some of these include feedback by annual pulse survey, one-on-ones, skip-level meetings, attendance and participation rate of sessions, the number of outreach programs we hold. Our diversity across organization, including at the leadership level to better representative of the communities we serve and we operate in. In summary, open and transparent feedback, communication, and data insights are key. And the last one, we want our people to grow and thrive. Good talent is difficult to find. We want to ensure that we are properly using capabilities and creating a workplace that is good to development for all, including underrepresented groups. We want to ensure that everyone has fair access to development opportunities to share their careers at Ingram Micro. We want everyone to feel proud, work for us and with us. These are the three main recommendations and focus areas. To finish, Brittany, I would like to say from my point of view, this is like in Imagine a Better World. Imagine people more happy. The most important part is that we can make the difference.
Thank you so much, Diana and Simon, for walking us through Ingram Micro's journey on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We hope you found this valuable and want to provide some final key takeaways for how you can start building your best team. First, start from wherever you are and keep things simple. If it helps, break things down and then start to build action plans. Establishing guiding principles can help you maintain focus. Listen to your associates. Listen often, and most importantly, take action based on what you hear. Data is extremely important. And don't be afraid to bring external thinking into your organization. Seek out experts to help accelerate your progress. There's definitely a misconception that this is an HR program. This is not an HR program, but a business program. All this work is good for your business growth, your corporate reputation, and ongoing profitability, and it's even proven. And finally, be bold and challenge yourself. Open the door to have conversations about inclusion. By sharing information in this way, we have the opportunity to collectively raise the bar and improve the world of work beyond the four walls of our regular workforce. Thank you for your time, and we wish you well in building your own best teams.